Hey guys, Bill coming back at you again with another video. As you can see, we're outside here in sunny Nova Scotia, Canada. We got a bunch of stuff to do today. First, we're going to take a look at the outside grow, see how everything's making out here. We have to harvest the two last Granddaddy Purple Autos. We'll check out and compare the Adlite comparison grow that we're doing. And we also are going to spread out the Island Sweet Skunk in the 5x5 just a little bit more. And then I think she's ready to go in the flower, guys. All right, so here we are outdoors. I think it's like 22 degrees Celsius. It's just absolutely beautiful today, which is nice because it hasn't been super great all week, so definitely we'll take it. Let's check out the plants that we started, I think it was just 2 weeks ago. All right, we're going to start over here with the Early Miss raised bed. We have this one here. This was the tiny one that we put in March 28th. I look back, and that's when we planted them, so it's only been a couple of weeks. And for the first week and a half, none of these really did a whole lot, but now I'm starting to see some growth. So here we have the small one. We can compare this to even to last week, and quite a bit of growth there. We have the Indian Mint that's growing like a weed. Smells so good though, guys. We have this one here is the medium size Early Miss Auto Flower. Now we decided to do auto flowers because they'll be done way before the wet fall weather here, so we're guaranteed to get some. This one here, this did something a little different here last week. If we can look down here, it almost kind of topped itself. You can see it kind of came off to the side. We have two branches coming out, and there's also a new one right there in the center, and the main top then decided to ship off to this side, and this is the main top here. So that's going to be kind of cool how that fills out. But she's doing really good, lots of growth in the last, especially I'm going to say 4 or 5 days. I've seen a big difference. We have Lemon Balm there. She's starting to take off again. And here is our largest Early Miss here. She's doing really good. She's starting to fill out some down below. Now I did notice on the weekend I came out and I started noticing some pistils or stigmas or hairs, whatever you want to call them. I started seeing a few of those coming out. So what I did then was I went ahead and I came in and topped it right in here. And the reason for doing that is, in my experience, once they show pistils, they're saying, okay, I'm mature, or I'm just about mature, so I can go into flower at any point. I kind of want them to stay in veg just a little bit longer, as long as I can, really. And I find if you stress them out just at that point when they start throwing hairs, they will, most of the time, they will kind of put the flowering phase on pause a little bit to heal up the wounds. I also did take a few leaves off down around the bottom, just a little bit extra stress. I find it kind of prolongs the veg stage a little bit. There's no science behind that. That's just my personal experience with autoflowers. So that's what I do. When this one starts showing pistils, I'll do the same thing. I'll top it, maybe take off a couple of the smaller branches down below that we're going to take off anyway, just to kind of pause that flowering phase for as long as we can. So here's our auto flowers doing well. Let's head over to the vegetables. I said I'd give you guys quick updates on those. Let's check them out. Here we have our vegetable raised bed here. We planted these quite a while ago. These were just a couple of potatoes that I had in the kitchen that started to sprout, and I was like, hey, why not? Chucked them in there, cut them up, chucked it in there, and yeah, they're doing really well. I didn't hill them, as you can see. But I do believe that these are a determinate potato, which hilling is not necessary. You can have determinate or indeterminate, same as tomatoes, same thing. And the determinate, they have a shorter growing period, and the potatoes kind of grow at one level. If you get into the indeterminate potatoes, like the Idahos and stuff like that, they have a much longer growing period, and they grow potatoes kind of in layers. So it's really required or recommended for those ones to hill them. These determinate ones, again, I'm not sure, but I think they're Yukon Golds, don't really require hilling as far as I can see. We're starting to get some potato buds coming out there. So there's our potatoes. We have a couple of Amish paste tomatoes here. They really didn't do too good for the first week and a half, but they're just starting now to get some new growth. There's some branches coming out down below there. And I have to check to see whether these are determinate or indeterminate as well, to see how I'm going to prune them. So we'll start doing that here probably within the next week or two. Candy cane red pepper, again, didn't do anything for the first week, but now I'm seeing we've got some little tiny peppers blossoms coming out there. And again, I still have to do research. I'm not a pro on all these vegetables, guys. I know some peppers you want to kind of pinch off the first blossoms, so the plant will put more energy into growing the plant bigger first before it starts putting energy into actually growing fruit. So I'll have to check on that. We have a little sugar baby melon down there. It's doing really good the last few days. It's grown a couple of new leaves, and I can see more growth down in the center. So that's just a quick update on the vegetable garden, guys, for those that want it. All right, guys, so let's check out the last cannabis plant that we have out here. Now we got this one all caged up because this is a black gorilla. We can't let that loose in the wild. It's really starting to take off now. There's lots of new growth all around the bottom. It's starting to fill out quite a bit, and it's also getting some extra height here. So I'm thinking within the next few weeks we're going to see a big difference in this one now that she's all settled into her new home. So let's quick look at the outdoors, some of these smaller plants. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's go check out the Island Sweet Skunk that's filling the 5x5. All right, guys, here we have in the Mars Hydro 5x5 tent. We are growing this under the Mars Hydro FC 6500 Evo. Beast of a light, a fantastic light for a 5x5 tent. And we're also using, at this moment, we are using the deep red Mars Hydro Adlite supplemental grow lights. Now, why are we using red if we're still in veg? Most of the time, deep red would be used in the flowering stage, but you can also use it when you need to. You don't have to stick by strict guidelines with these lights. We know that red causes stretch, and we know blue limits stretch. So I wanted to fill this tent up with one plant. So I decided, hey, let's get this thing going. Let's stretch this plant out a little bit. Now this is what we have. This was a monster crop clone that I took off one of the previous Island Sweet Skunks, and it's working out fantastic in here. As we can see around here, we have this stainless steel ring right here, and this is a part from a product that is now no longer available, but I do like to use these rings for spreading out big plants. It's basically an individual scrogging ring, which allows you to scrog out your plant without it being locked in place. Now we can take this, the pot is sitting on a bearing right now, so we can just turn that wherever we want. We can bring the front to the back to the front, whatever we want to do. We do have a little bit more growth on this side. It's a little bit higher, but what I may do with that is I may just take that ring here, grab this. We'll probably tie that down to the pot or even down to the riser down there, and just basically pull that down a little bit, and there, that straightens it out. So we will probably do that. Actually, I may do that right now because it's going to give me a better idea of where everything's going to set. So what we're going to do today, as I said, we'll pull that down. We're going to use these. These are bud clips. I think they're from a company called Bud Trainer, I think. They actually work really well. I was skeptical because I had tried some of the early versions of bud clips and they sucked hard. But these actually work really well. So highly recommend the bud clips. I actually have some, if we can zoom down in the middle. I don't know if we can see one down there. Right there. We did use a few of them to initially pull out the initial branches, and we're going to use more again today. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all these outside ones that are quite a bit above the main canopy. We're going to put a bud clip on each one and bring them down like this. So what happens when we do that? Our plant is going to go from almost filling the tent to completely filling the tent. And then we can flip on the weekend. So I'm going to put you up on the tripod, guys, and we're just going to fast forward through this. I've shown in previous videos how to put the bud clips on. If you go back, you can see that. But we're just going to get them on here real quick. I'll put you up on the tripod, put some music to it. So let's get her done. All right, so we pulled that ring down this side a little bit, evens everything up. We got our bud clips. Let's go ahead. right, guys, we got her done. We ended up tying that ring down in a couple of little spots there just to kind of even it out. And she's pretty flat there now. And you can see all the bud clips. Now these are kind of pointed down. These bend them like 90 degrees. So they're kind of a little bit farther down, but they will come up like this, right? And then fill in that whole area. So as you can see, over here, we're touching the wall. All those ones will come up. We're touching the wall back there. We're touching the wall here. And when we do the flowering stretch, my God, I almost forgot about the flowering stretch, to be honest. There's going to be a lot more of these that we're going to have to do the same way to try to keep everything even. But I think it's safe to say, I think this has filled the tent. You can see this one here comes right out to the front. I also have a little Sunday driver down there just chilling. But yeah, I think she's ready to go. What do you think, guys? I have no idea how old this clone is, actually. I will have to get underneath there, which is going to be really fun, and clean out underneath. I'll get some help and try to set it up on a table so I can actually get down there and do it sometime within the next week or so. But there we go. That's the Island Sweet Skunk, ready to flip. I think I'll give it till the weekend just to kind of bring its branches back up, and then we are going to flip, and I think we're going to have a jungle in here. All right, guys, let's go check out the Mars Hydro Adlite Supplemental Grow Light Comparison Grow. I'm pretty excited about this one. All right, so here we have in the 2.5 by 5 tent, partitioned off straight in the middle. Here we have the green candy. This is green crack crossed with candy kush. And we are doing a comparison here. If you haven't seen this yet, and this is your first time, we are just basically doing one thing in here. We're running the same light, same conditions on both sides, same clones from the same mothers. The only difference between these two plants is this, the Mars Hydro Blue Adlite Supplemental Grow Light. So we've been running this the whole time on this side, and this side is just running. These are the FCE 1500s. Fantastic light for this size. This is about 2.5 by 2.5. And I think you could probably go 3 by 3 pretty easily with this light. So here we have the comparison grow. Now, we had comments last week that the one with the blue light was stockier, was a bit more compact, and the internodal spacing was a little bit closer, and I have to agree with that. It's still, to me, sometimes a little bit hard to tell. Well, when you come back, if you can come back and look at it, you can definitely tell that this side is definitely taller, and the branches are growing kind of straight up, right? Whereas this one is noticeably shorter, and the branches are kind of filled out the space a lot better. So yeah, definitely a big difference. I flipped these on Friday, guys, so they're just starting their stretch now, which may have been a mistake because I don't have a ton of room up here, and I don't think this side is going to be a problem, but I'm wondering if this side might be a problem. Now, I did use a par meter for anybody asking whether, you know, the extra par from that blue light is going to give this an advantage, but I use a par meter. I've been checking it every 2 days because they are growing pretty good right now, and I'm keeping the par the same. So they're both getting about 850 par right now, which is quite a bit for just starting flower. And I'm pretty interested to see how this goes. Now, once the flowering stretch is done, the blue light is done. That comparison grow is done after the stretch, because after that, we will see the results. At the end of the flowering stage, we will see the results of the blue light in totality. So at that point, I may change out that blue light for the red light on this side and just let this go with just natural white. So after the blue light comparison is done, after the flowering stretch, we may turn it into a blue plus deep red comparison grow. So that'll give us an idea of using both of those, the set of the blue and the red together. But yeah, I think there's quite a bit of difference here, and I'm excited to see how it does over the next 2 to 3 weeks probably of stretch. I'm really curious to see how this is going to end up. Let me know in your comments what you think of this so far. Anybody that's been watching this every week. All right, guys, last thing. We're going to harvest the last 2 of the Granddaddy purples. All right, over here in the Mars Hydro 4x4, we grew these autos under the Mars Hydro FC4800 Evo. I just put the sticker there because they don't put Evo on it, and I guess Evo is just the chip brand, but I don't know, I think maybe they're not allowed to put Evo on it because that's a brand name. I don't know, but anyway, I just put a sticker on there so I remember to say Evo. These are run with the Samsung Evo LM301H diodes, and they're super efficient and great for not just growing cannabis, but pretty much growing anything. They have the full spectrum, really efficient lights, so they're a little cheaper to run, and they're just overall, they're just really good lights. I was running the deep red in here. I turned that off just because these guys have gotten enough light. As you can see, they are pretty crispy at this point. Let's see this here. Now, we have some pretty good sized buds here. But the leaves, now what happened was I don't normally flush my plants at all. These have been a pain in the freaking ass to water 4 to 5 times a day. Because we're in these little tiny gallon pots, or half gallon, I don't even know what they are. They're just tiny. Like, my hand is, you know, I don't know. But with this, they dry out so damn quick. And especially when you have lots of growth, you have to keep watering them. Now, when I had 8 of these in here, I had the Mars Hydro drip system on there. That worked okay for a while, but even with the small pots, I couldn't turn the drip up enough to cover the entire pot. So that didn't even work so well with the smaller pots. Anyway, we're done with it. Thank God. I will never grow in these little pots again. You can get some decent yields. I mean, these are decent plants. We're probably going to get at least 3 ounces off each one. So nothing wrong with that, but it's just a lot more work in a smaller pot. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to get these, we did LST a bunch here as much as we could, which is also much harder in a smaller pot because your rim is so close to the stalk that it's really hard to pull anything down. But we're going to take these out on the deck and harvest them up and hang them with the other one. So we'll go ahead and take these out on the deck. We'll chop them down, and that'll be it for the Granddaddy Purple Autos. And I'm going to say thank God these little pots are done. All right, so what we're going to do here, guys, we're going to do the same thing as we did with the last ones. We're going to squeeze the bottom here a little bit. We're going to take them right out of the pots because it's easier to get to the base doing that. I'm going to say that little plant has got some weight to it, way more than I thought. You can see the root ball here. You can see the root ball here is just, you can't even pull it apart. She's solid and full. She's still actually a little wet though, and I didn't water her since last night, but it's kind of surprising. Anyway, let's see if we can get down here and get this all off in one. Okay, so I had to cut out a little snippet there because that was a little embarrassing. It took a little bit to get that down, actually try to get my shears in there, but this is just one branch that broke off. Some pretty nice crystally bud there, and here we have the full plant. You can see how we LST'd that down as much as we could with the small pot, but yeah, pretty decent plant overall. Probably the heaviest out of all of them. So let's go in, we'll hang that up, we'll grab the last one and be done with these Granddaddy Purple Autos. All right, the last one. Get her out there. This one's not as tight, but she's still pretty full. But got some pretty big chunky buds on her. Let's get her down, hang her up. All right, again, I'm gonna mangle that up. I think my shears are broken, and of course we have one fall off on the floor. Again, not a bad plant, not near as heavy as that last one, but we got some pretty chunky buds here, and not too bad. They're not rock hard, but they're not bad. Once those get trimmed up, those are going to be really nice, I think. Really smelly. That'll be it for the Granddaddy Purple Autos. All right, guys, so that's it for this one. So we got some done today. We got that 5x5 all ready. She's ready to flip this weekend. We're done with the Granddaddy Purple Autos, and I don't mind the plants themselves, but those little pots were just a pain in the butt. They work. You can grow in them, no problem, but you have to water them so often, and it's just more maintenance. So not something I'm going to recommend, but you do you. I know Ribby Boy's pretty good at it, and I can just imagine how much time that he puts into those little solo cup grows and stuff. He's pretty good, but you can go check him out. Be sure to come back next week. We'll check again on the outside grow. They're just starting to like really put out now, so each week should be quite a bit different from here on out. We'll also check the Adlite grow, the comparison grow, because now that they're just starting their flowering stretch, we're going to start seeing a big difference, I think. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Happy growing.